Says I'm live. Can you hear me though? That's the question. Oops. Can you hear me? I can't hear it. I can't hear it. Oh, there it goes. Now I can hear it. Oh, there it goes. All right, sweet. All right, so I'm live. I am going to sit back this morning, daylight savings morning. Is my video quality like really, really bad on anyone else's end or on your end? Because it's really bad on mine for some reason. And it shouldn't be. That's very odd. Morning chat. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, that's odd. It shouldn't look rough. So this video is looking really poor on YouTube, which is not the way it should be. Oh, there it seems to be sort of evening itself out a little bit better. Nope, it's super choppy. Huh. That's not good. Let me see here. I might have to pause the stream and come back if this isn't going to work. If it's going to look really, really poor. Or be choppy or whatever. Huh. You know, and there's like nothing you can do in YouTube's live thing. That's really odd. I really don't know why it would be bad. I have fine internet, so it shouldn't be terrible. Good morning. How is it going? Is it kind of evening itself out and quality is getting a little bit better, slowly but surely? It's periodically better. Okay. Maybe that's because everyone upstairs is watching YouTubes and other things. So, well, anyway, I'll ramble for a bit, and if it gets better, it gets better. If it doesn't, it doesn't. The problem is if I turn it off, I have to start a new thing. So, this week was fun doing the doing the morning videos. I found all of them to be pretty helpful for me personally. Production is one of the more if I could do anything for a living I wanted, I would probably be in production. It's like my favorite thing to do in the world. It's not my most creatively satisfying. I wonder if it's because I have too many lights on. If this YouTube's is trying to catch up. It's really bright too. This was not supposed to look like this. What a mess. What a mess of a morning. Does that fix anything? Less bright. I just have too many lights. This light is what's killing me here. I just like literally turned on the lights I use in the morning videos and I just flipped them on and used that. Okay, now it's getting crappy again because it's probably trying to adjust for the lighting. I love production. I love the process of being in production. That's better. I mean, it's what it is what it is. It's just so weird how not on YouTube, on the actual like YouTube streamer, it looks awesome. Like the lighting looks good. It's high quality. It's crisp. It's clean. Then I go over to the YouTube and it looks like trash. Oh, this is like I love production, but this is the shit. Trying to figure out all these little details as you go can be such a bitch. So did everyone get up this morning with daylight savings time? That was not easy for me. I did not expect that to kick my ass that hard. But I stayed up too late watching Paddleton again. So anyway, this is generally when I do my morning videos, and I set up the camera and everything in the morning, and I get the lighting all set up because I've been moving the camera around a little bit. So I find my spot, I set up my angle, I set up my lighting, and then I sit and watch it and start talking and like make sure everything's working just like this. This is sort of my process every morning of doing these stupid videos. I got a really nice message from a friend who said they were really enjoying it and they liked the information, but they also just liked having that thing in the morning that they can watch, and they're enjoying the like just casualness of the conversation. That's nice that people are digging it. You see this? This is what I do. I nitpick the shot over and over again and try to figure it out. I like to keep myself small on frame for some reason too. I don't know why. But a lot of people left great comments, and one of the things that this person said when they messaged was that they thought I should intersplice like clips from the movies when I'm talking about them. Like as I talk about the movies, just put a little clip from The Good Exorcist or from Greywood's Plot, kind of showing what I'm talking about. However, that would take me much longer than I want to spend on these videos. So as much as that would be fun to do, I would have to devote literally my whole morning to doing them. And that was not the point of this. The point was to get my ass up and get myself working on stuff. I can tell you this much. If I didn't do this morning video, I would not be dressed yet today. I would still be laying in bed on my cell phone in my underwear, messaging or posting stupid stuff on Twitter. But having something like this to motivate me in the morning and keep me accountable, it was one of the reasons I went to bed last night. I would have stayed up way later, way too late. I stayed up too late to begin with, but I would have stayed up way later if I didn't have this morning video to do. I think people sometimes don't give themselves these things to get their asses out of bed or get themselves moving in the morning. Even at work, I see when not at this job that I'm at now, because I work in the afternoons now, but at my last job when I was working as an animation director, I noticed a lot of people didn't give themselves like a goal right away in the morning. So they would just kind of like half-ass their way through that first part of the day. So I try to give myself treating Flush Studios right now like a full-time job in the mornings, which is what I'm trying to do, or at least a part-time job. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's cool. People are hopping on this morning, enjoying their coffees, hopefully, or tea or whatever you drink. Whiskey. Oh, I've been drinking less the past 2 months. I went a whole month without drinking alcohol. And then I started drinking just a little bit here and there, having like a glass of wine or whatever. And that helps me get motivated too. I actually drinking at night, big surprise, makes me lazier in the morning. It's weird because sometimes it motivates me more when I'm doing it. I can drink. Oh my God, I'm knocking over my subwoofer. Oh crap. I hope I didn't fuck anything up when I did that. My sub is just sitting on the ledge of my TV stand and I knocked it over. Are you planning on compiling the morning videos together in a collection? Might be a good chance to edit in those clips. That's actually, I thought about that, Derek. I think that's a good idea. And maybe one of the things I can do is go through these morning videos and make them shorter clips so that I can just post them on YouTube. So take like a 1-minute thing that was actually interesting to people, take like, or 2 minutes, whatever you can post on Twitter, and make it into a video, maybe make it square so I can post it on Instagram, like do it not square 1080p for Twitter and Facebook, but then do a square version for Instagram, or what do you call it? Horizontal video. I don't know, whatever. And for Instagram, that's a really great idea. The simplicity is part of the appeal. It shows that you don't need a lot of edits or effects to create useful content. Exactly. That was why I started doing it too. I really wanted it to be something that was casual and people could just listen to these concepts. We spend so much time watching. Jesus, my throat, COVID, coronavirus. No, I'm going to admit something. I smoked a cigarette last night, which is rare for me, but I had a couple drinks and I felt like smoking a cigarette. That is once a year. It was so nice out. I went and sat in my backyard. It was like the first nice spring day, and I'd skateboarded all day, so I felt cool again. I was not cool. I was anything but cool. But yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to do with these, is keep them casual and keep them fun. What if all of a sudden back here a little head peeked out? It's like, that would be cool. That would have been a good idea. One of these Sunday mornings, I'll actually plan for something interesting to happen. That is not happening today. This is not a cool video. I don't know why I smoked a cigarette, though. I guess because I'm an idiot. But one of when I started doing these videos, I wanted to keep them simple, but I also wanted to keep it very honest as to the way my brain works. I think a lot of us get into these like YouTube characters or filmmaker characters, like the person that we're trying to play or whatever, to social media. Not a character, but you know what I mean. I talked about this with my wife the other day, how I try to stay like as honest as I can in these videos and in my podcast and in everything I do, and like not put on a radio voice or do that sort of faux thing. And but I definitely can do the radio voice sometimes when I get on the podcast. My wife, but everyone does that. You're a different person when you're at work than you are at home. I'm a different person live on this than if I'm sitting on the couch with my kids, or, we have these different personas or personalities, and my poor wife has to deal with the one that's just like, I fucking want to quit. I hate this shit. I'm never making movies again. I'm done with contracts. I'm never taking another contract. I got another call about contract I took. I don't know why. I smoked one time this year, and all of a sudden I have to have a cigarette in my goddamn kids with their bucket. Oh God, I wish I could talk like that. I wish I had that complete smoker's hack voice. Anyway, but yeah, so you put on these different voices. So with those videos, I wanted to kind of watch myself and see myself live to just kind of see what my personality. Is that the John Carpenter persona? Yes, that's except John Carpenter he's not even like grizzled and angry like that. Like, he is a little bit, but he's not like goddamn filmmaker. He's always like, I love video games. I just love them. I'm gonna go play some music. He's always kind of oddly positive in his negativity. I guess that's the way I am too. And if I was talking with my wife and I did that, if I say like, I hate this, I hate movie making, it's the worst, she knows that in 10 minutes I'm gonna be like, oh, but I got this idea. I'm making this another movie. It's called Nickelback Sucks. I don't know. I have no ideas. I can't come up with an idea off the top of my head like that. But this week was really nice because a lot of people were hopping in the comments and the chats and stuff, and actually bringing up some really good topics, stuff that I didn't bring up or didn't think about. And it made me realize that there is always room to grow in these and other things to talk about and stuff to learn as the industry changes, and as the, not just the industry changes, as we change as people. As you change, you can come up with new ideas and you can shift what you're doing. What was I gonna? But someone brought up the fact that fixing it in post is like when you hear a director say that, it's like the worst thing in the world. You know that it's going to be bad, and that's very true. I talked about fixing it in post. I like to fix it in post. This is my knee. If anyone sees something pop up below, I have my knee up on my chair and on my desk. Fixing it in post is terrible. You should never. If someone ever says they're gonna fix it in post, you're pretty much fucked. That's true. I try not to say will fix it in post when I'm working on stuff, or will do it in post or whatever. I try to say like, I'll do it in post. I think it gives myself the confidence that, number one, or it gives myself the not confidence, the opposite of confidence. It forces me to have to know that it's going to fall on me and I'm going to waste my time. So if I say I'm going to fix it in post, it sometimes makes me go, no, wait, how do we do this right now? So I don't have to do it later. So I can be a little lazy. Someone just messaged me. I hope you all are having coffee or getting whatever, your tea or whatever, and getting ready for the day. And this is working. I'm sorry that the video is really crappy. I know this video doesn't really matter, the quality. It's more about just listening and rambling and having our coffees together. But it really bums me out that it's bad. I wish it was better. I don't know what to do about that. Maybe I need to use OBS. I'm not using OBS. That's the one thing. I'm streaming directly through the YouTube thing, and there isn't like a way to see what your quality is or what's going on. It looks like it has like a little bar that makes it look like it's nice quality, but maybe that's the sound. I don't know what this is. I guess this is, I don't know, when I click on it, it goes all crazy. Anyway, I'm just learning this YouTube crap. So when I am working on something in production and I'm thinking about what I'm going to do in post and how I'm going to fix it in post, I definitely try to keep myself accountable. But I also like to think about how I'm going to do it in post, and I will talk about it as we're doing it. Like I'll talk it through with people so I can get sort of validation from them when I say to Strauss, like, hey, man, let's get a plate of this pumpkin and then let's put the pumpkin on the floor and then let's put blood around. So we have all of these different layers that I can then mess with. And a lot of times I lock it down. I mean, you almost have to lock it down if you're going to do stuff with plates. But then I know that I can actually do stuff in production or in post-production with it, like even do a digital zoom. So I think about the shot and how it's set up and how that digital zoom will work. One of the things with digital zooms that a lot of people forget or don't think about is the actual layering of how things would work in a zoom and how you can kind of trick someone into thinking that your zoom isn't digital. So in production, if you're locking your shot down and you're filming, I'm filming this coffee. I have my coffee mug sitting right here. Let's say there's not a table here, but my coffee mug is sitting right here and there's going to be tentacles coming out of it. And then there's going to be oozing blood around it or something. And I'm going to set it on this table here for myself. So whatever. But let's say I want to then do a push in on that coffee mug while those tentacles are coming out and maggots are rolling around it. I was literally just going to say, I don't know why I would have a shot with a coffee mug with tentacles in it, and just realized that I did that in one of my morning videos, that poetry one, I had tentacles in a coffee mug. So that's where my brain at. But one of the things that I would do is I might actually film it from back here. I would lock it down back here with the microphone in the foreground and then start recording, film the coffee mug, film it without the coffee mug, film it with the microphone, film it without the microphone. And then in post, I would actually probably mask around the microphone. And then as I'm doing my digital push in on with the shot without the microphone in it, I would have that microphone have a little bit of parallaxing motion in it. So in After Effects, I would just, or Premiere, sometimes I do these in Premiere because they're such a simple move. I would just scale the coffee mug. Let's say I'm going from 100% to 100 or not 100%, whatever. I'll just say 100%. Going from 100% to 105%. And then I would actually have this go from 100 to 110% because you're going past it and actually like slide it out. That was a lot of explaining for something that either you get that or you don't. But thinking about what you can do with motion in post with visual effects, especially, it's thinking about the layers. It's thinking about what the audience is actually going to be seeing versus just thinking about that visual effect. There's something about those kind of like layering things. Another thing I do is like, I'll add digital dust or digital light streaks, just very simple light streaks that then move different than the object. That gives that parallaxing motion as well. And it's very subtle, but the audience like feels these subtleties. even if no one really can, like, explain what they're feeling, they do. So, having those little extra digital things can go a really long way. Does any of that make sense, or did that was that ramble complete nonsense? This is the kind of shit I love talking about. I can ramble about this kind of stuff all day. My coffee is already getting cold. I would go heat it up on any other day. There was another concept that came up where someone asked about if film school is a good idea in relations to production. I mean, just in general, if film school is a good idea. When I grow up, I want to be just like you. Jesus, I have never felt more grown up than trying to skateboard yesterday and feeling my joints today. I was like, God, my freaking ankles are so sore. And Jenny was like, that's a weird thing to say that your ankles are sore. Um, so After Effects is one of those things. Wes Effect Entertainment said, I've been interested in wrapping my brain around After Effects. After Effects is one of those softwares, like a lot of softwares are, where you pop into it and it's just like, am I peaking? Sorry. Is is this better? Was it really loud? Is it really loud? If anything is wrong with this video besides, I mean, even the quality, you guys could tell me the quality is bad. I really apologize for that. I wish it was better and wasn't cutting out like this. I'm gonna look into it. But After Effects is one of those things, like a lot of softwares, where you look at it and you're like, "Oh my god, this is so complicated. This interface is just so much shit going on." And but when you boil down the simple things, you will not use 90% of what's on, maybe not 90. You won't use 40% of what's in After Effects. So just no reason to use it at any point. So focusing on little things in After Effects and figuring out, like, okay, well, this is how keyframes work. This is what motion blur is. This is how you move text from one screen or one spot to the next and make keyframes, like all of those little elements. Once you start to get the little things down, then you start to build, like, oh, well, this effect can, like fractal noise is the kind of effect that most people won't really use that often. But once you start using it, it comes in handy so often. I use fractal noise on like 90% of my effects. The puppet tool is one of those things where a lot of my friends who use After Effects never use the puppet tool. They have so many other ways of doing it. But because of all of the tentacles and weird little motions I have, I use the puppet tool a lot. One of the effects I did in Greywood's plot, I don't know I don't know how many people have seen Greywood's plot who are in the chat, but um, Greywood's plot has a ton of flies. There are like probably 50, maybe 100 shots in the movie that have a fly in it. Um, Obviously, we didn't have flies. We didn't have a fly wrangler, and that room stank. I don't even. YouTube, are you serious? I just message. I honestly don't know why the connection's crappy. There's no reason it should be. Um, Man, I really want this to work. I really have fun with these things, and I don't know. It's hard to keep people around when it's looks like crap and sounds like crap. Okay, let me close down this and this and this and this. No, it was me losing a signal. It said I have a bad connection. Oh my god, this is just driving me bonkers. Okay, I'm closing this down, and there is no reason. I wonder if I do that. Okay. Action, if we do, I will go live on a there. Am I back? Did that work? Oops. Oh my god, you guys, this is not, this was supposed to be very casual and easy. Is it better or worse? It still looks like garbage, huh? But is it working? That's the question. Seems to be coming back. Okay, maybe this worked. Change to a different we have 2 connections, and I'm trying this other connection. So hopefully this other connection works better. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. It looks like it's better there on my end, maybe a little bit. Okay, so maybe that's what I have to do. Maybe I have to get off the connection that the rest of my family is on and use this other one. I guess that makes sense, huh? Look at that, my Super 8. Oh, that camera is gonna be so awesome for this movie we're doing. Daniel and I had a very good, um Daniel and I had a very good heart not heart to heart, that sounds lame, but I guess heart to heart about, about what we wanna do this year and next year, and I think sometimes you have to really boil down, like, what you really wanna show and what you wanna make. I have some crazy ideas. Poor Daniel has to deal with my crazy ideas all the time. Me just suddenly being like, "I've got another movie idea, and we're gonna do it. We're going straight to Instagram." That is not an idea. I am not doing a feature for Instagram. I don't have the time to do that. But like what I want to do with Scumbag, what I want to do with these 2 other scripts that I'm writing right now, ways we can use YouTube and other platforms in ways that I've never seen them used. And how we personally can have fun with them. Oh, yeah, this looks a lot better to me now. Is this actually kind of working? That would be great. So, was I talking about something worth, talking about? After Effects. Learning the simple things in After Effects is really important, and that's one of the things that I really try to, um, explain to directors, how helpful it is to just have an understanding of After Effects. So, if you can learn the simple concepts of how it works. One of the things that I'm really bad about is when someone asks me, "Can we do this?" I'm always like, "Of course we can. You can do anything." I watched a movie this year or last year, 2 years ago, holy 4 3 years ago, who knows, where, uh, a guy snapped his fingers and people turned to dust with, all of the superheroes I watched as a kid growing up, like, the crazy shit that you can do in movies now. You can do anything, and you can go anywhere, do anything. It's just a matter of if you have the time or the budget or the know-how to do it. But visually, anything is possible. Um, so when people whenever someone is like, "Hey, do you think we can do this?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, we can, but are we going to? I don't know." Um, there was another thing that someone brought up in the, comments that they said they were talking about pickups, how important pickups are. And that was something that I didn't bring up at all in these morning videos this week, and that's really important to filmmaking. Reminding yourself that you can do pickups. I mean, big feature films. Like I have friends who work on Marvel movies or, like they work for Disney in Atlanta and they work on all of those big movies. And the amount of times that they're like, "Oh no, I can't come. We have pickups to do." They're always doing pickups. Like, that's a huge part of the industry process, and so many independent filmmakers don't even think about doing pickups. They give themselves their shoot date, and they're like, "We've got this many days to film, and this is how many days we're giving ourselves," and they never think about pickups, whereas Daniel and I were, like, always in the process of being like, "Let's go pick it up. Let's go shoot. Let's go figure this out." I read about the pickups in the Don Coscarelli book, how they learned how to finish a movie when they sold them to Universal. Yeah, and that's like so those sort of concepts are things that can work into, Don Coscarelli is working on this sort of mid-range movie. I mean, they're still low-budget movies, but they're that sort of mid-range movie, and that's one of the things that Daniel and I talked about with Greywood's plot is if we wanted to, uh if the movie sells, if we would be willing to go do pickups for the movie and change it or do not even just pickups, like thinking about what I could change to the movie to make it something that would be more easily sold. Obviously changing it to color is the big one. And we've had like 4, maybe 5 distributors go like, we love this movie. We think we could sell it if you put the color back in. Is it possible for the movie to have color? Like, did you film in color? And we did film in color, but doesn't that sort of like completely go against the theme of the movie? Like, that is not the whole theme of the movie is sort of standing for what, or giving yourself up to the art and being consumed by it. And I that felt really shitty to put the color back into it and recolor it. Plus, the thing about black and white is I got away with hiding a lot of digital effects and things that people what was I trying to say? I hid visual effects in the black and white that if you saw it in color wouldn't look as good. Some of the visual effects look better in color. The color hides it, like especially the bloody stuff. Being able to, like, in black and white, you can see all of the like lines that cut up the face and stuff like that. But in color, it sort of all blends into skin and red and black and all of these colors. So that was actually harder in black and white. But some of the things like the fly's motion and stuff like that, it gets lost in the color. And I don't know, the black and white just works. It just makes it pop a little bit more, and I'm able to use the silhouettes. And I agree that it is like the charm of the movie. And a lot of the distributors even said that they would be like, yeah, we get it. The black and white is way better. When you sit down and start watching the movie, it works in black and white. And that's what we love about it. However, we can't get people to come watch a black and white movie. No one is going to turn it on if they see it. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I think you can, if you want to put the time into selling it, what they're actually saying is we don't want to put the time into selling it as a black and white movie, or the budget into selling it as a black and white movie. We want the easy sell Chupacabra movie. We want to put a dog man on the cover and show a trailer that is color and scary and gross and sell it as a torture porn movie, basically. Which is like, if I turned that movie on and started watching a low budget torture porn and expected a torture porn, and instead I got me eating jelly beans on the toilet and my mom watching rape shows, I would be like, this is not what I was sold. But man, those independent distributors love to sell a bill of false goods. They love to sell a movie on expectation versus actual selling. As a red colorblind individual, black and white cinema means incredible amounts to me. That's really cool. I mean, I agree. I'm not colorblind, but as a person who I personally appreciate movies that take risks and challenge the audience a little bit. Black and white movies, to me, there's something about it where you have to think outside of the realm of comfort, because it's not the way we see. So you're instantly reminded this is a movie at any given point. I like that. I'm right now that this like sort of, what's the term for, like, there's this sort of thing happening in media where it's every movie is trying to be, real life. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to fucking say, but The Dark Knight really started this thing of everyone wants, the norm right now is to make people so comfortable sitting in their seat that it feels like they're watching something that could really happen, versus allowing a movie to just be a movie and enjoying the fun. When you watch Beetlejuice, you're just like sucked into this fake world of Beetlejuice. It's not the real world. The reality doesn't work the same in Beetlejuice as it works in real life. Even in the reality, not even in the afterlife, even in reality, things are kind of different. Characters are bigger. I like that in my movies. I like movies that just have their own universe. And with The Good Exorcist and Greywood's plot, I really wanted to try to give them their own world. So when people do go like, I didn't like Mr. Willows and Mrs. Willows, their performances weren't realistic or they weren't very good. I'm like, yep, that's the B movie world that I'm trying to build. I hope it worked. You didn't like them? Good. You weren't supposed to. You were supposed to get sucked into this B movie world or, realize that it's not going to be great performances. That's like the same thing with with Greywood's plot. I love it when people bring up the fact that there are poor performances in the movie, but, like, by the end of the movie, the performances are really good. I'm like, "Yes, that's what I wanted." I We pulled it off. We had a B movie at the beginning, and slowly it becomes a real movie as you watch it, and I think the other thing that is hard for people is to realize that you're not supposed to like every moment of a movie. It's okay not to like things or to not agree with a choice that the filmmaker made, which this seems to be a thing people don't like these days. They want the movie that they were promised or the thing that they want. They want, especially with like superhero movies and stuff like that. I'm so the opposite. I would rather see a Joker done completely different in a way I've never seen before and hate it and be like, "That was a bad choice," than seeing the same Joker again. I just get so bored with being comfortable watching things. Um, and even making movies, I feel that way. Like, I get bored when I start doing a scene or reading a script or writing a script, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm following this structure." Like, none of my movies have had I don't think I've ever done a love story in anything. Have I ever had a love story in any project I've ever done? There's never been a guy and girl falling in love before. I think I've had hints of other stuff, but I've never had just, like, straight up relationship. What's the romantic relationships in a movie before? And I mean, I suppose I will at some point, but even I started writing a movie. I have this script called Abscess that has so many points where I think people are gonna be like, because it's a female lead and because there's, like, so many characters happening, I think people are gonna try to connect these dots of relationships, like they did between Stanley and Maria, even though Maria is obviously not interested in Stanley at all. Like, yes, she reluctantly dances with him, but she is so not into him. There was points where they asked me while we were on set, they'd be like, "So what is the relationship between Maria and Gil and Maria and Stanley? Like, is there any how am I feeling in this moment?" Like Brittany would ask, like, do I like him? Is there a little hint of like romance here? And I was like, "No, not at all." Like, I don't want anyone to even know, like, there's more of a chance of Father Gil and Stanley hooking up than Maria and Stanley. Um, but I love this idea of Stanley, like, constantly chasing her for no reason. He's just in love and doesn't care, even though she obviously has no interest. Um, but I did have Daniel and I wrote a subplot into this project we were working on for The Good Exorcist, like, for those characters, and we had this idea where everyone in the town, like, every chick is in love with Stanley. Like, they think he is the coolest guy because he is just silent all the time, so no one knows anything about his personality, and in those small towns, he's, like, the one of the few guys around and still single, and so all the chicks are, like, in love with him, but he has no clue, is completely oblivious. So, like, after all this time of Father Gil, like, sorta trying to, like, hook up Stanley and Maria because he feels bad for Stanley, he sees this happen and, like, all of the women in town are just, like, in love with him, and he's like, "Wait, what the f why have I been trying to help you with Maria? You have all of these beautiful women who care, and you're too oblivious to realize it." Anyway, that's a tangent about the Good Exorcist characters that Daniel and I have talked about. If we ever did a series, that would be like a series thing. I really wanna do this year a Good Exorcist animated episode, just a little animated YouTube video of the characters to put out there into the universe. I'll talk about this more in a couple weeks on the last week when I talk about post production, like the stuff that you do after you finish your movie. And I I've been taking some of my old cartoons and old videos and posting them, and man, I think they're funny sometimes. Like, I don't think they're that bad. So I think there might be something to not forgetting the stuff you made and putting it out there and trying to get it seen by people again. Random nerdy question: what's your favorite deep cuts, stop motion, short, or feature? Um, Sorry, I started Mad God for short. Okay, so you're working on a project that's a stop motion. Um, what is my favorite deep cut stop motion short, or feature? I mean, okay, so feature, I oh, okay, I don't yeah, I've never seen have I seen Mad God? Let me look. I gotta check. I'm really struggling to think of something off the top of my head. Um, have I seen Mad God? I don't think I've ever seen this before. That looks cool. I'll have to check it out. Um, stop motion shorts. Man, I don't know why I can't think of anything off the top of my head. It's too early. For features, I mean, this is not a deep cut by any means, but I do not think that Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were-Rabbit gets enough love. I think that movie is, like, an all-around good movie and really, really fun, like, super fun and underappreciated. I don't know if maybe Curse of the Were-Rabbit has, like, a bit of a cult following, but I feel like the horror community doesn't give that movie the props. Like, as a movie that is made for kids, it is completely entertaining for adults, like, so entertaining. Um, I'm trying to think of stop motion shorts off the top of my head. I really liked those old this again probably isn't a deep cut, these are really popular, but, um, those what were they called? Angry Kid, where it's like they use, like, different masks. So it's like a person with a whole bunch of different masks, and it's like this little British kid or something. I don't it's been a long time since I've seen it, so I don't remember off the top of my head, but, um, one of the things that really got me into stop motion, again, not I mean, I know I have some deep cuts in me, like, things that I will the second I turn this off, I'll be like, um I'll think of a million stop motions that I loved. But, the thing one of the things that got me into animation just in general, and the reason why I started thinking, "Well, maybe I should go into animation because there's lots of work," um, what were the Tool music videos. Sorry, my kids are screaming upstairs, and it's distracting me because I can't tell if they're angry screaming or just goofing around screaming. I think it was called Angry Kid? I'm now this is bugging me. I believe it was produced by Aardman Studios as well. Um Yeah, it was a British animated series, and it was this they took these masks, and this kid had this big orange hair, and they would put these different masks on the person, and so it was, like, kind of a mix of live action and stop motion, and it was very strange and fun, and when I bring it up to people, they often don't know what it is, um, but the Tool music videos yeah, Prison, Sex, and Sober, yeah, those especially the Sober video because they would play it late night on I think it was our CW affiliate. No, not CW, WB affiliate. Like when WB had a channel, the WB. Was that what it's called? The WB? It sounds so stupid in my head, but I think that's what it was called. Um, and so on the WB, they would play at late at night on like Friday nights. They would play music videos. They actually got MTV put out like a MTV series, and they'd play music videos. And the sober one would play a lot. And I remember just watching it as a kid and being like, "Man, I want to make animation. I want to try this." So that one like really hit hard. It's not really a deep cut though. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But that was like always my dream job was to work on fucked up animations later in life, and I mean, obviously I do. Did it on my own. I made my own career of it, but, now I've changed my mind. That's not my dream job. Actually, I was seeing I'm wearing my El Rey shirt, and I started thinking about the fact that my dream job is, like, what those guys do at, El Rey Network. Uh, they do sort of every part of the process, so, I mean, not El Rey Network doesn't exist anymore, sadly, RIP and whatnot, but, they at Troublemaker Studios, a lot of their projects, they're kind of just running and gunning and figuring it out as they go. So there's that L there for the El Rey network. I'm sure most of you haven't seen it, but for the El Rey, marble mouth motherfucker on the El Rey network, they have this logo that like spray paints on to the screen. So it's like a wall, and then all of a sudden, you see like spray painted El Rey network comes on a screen. And they like I was talking with a couple of the guys who work there, and they were like, "Yeah, we just ran into this back room you see right here where it's spray painted. We just spray painted it here, filmed it, set up a camera, shot it, put it together, and sent it out to El Rey Network, and it stayed the El Rey Network title card for this whole time." I thought that was really cool, and I kind of want to like find something like that. I kind of want to make something like that. My dream is that Flush Studios can be my 100% full-time job, and Daniel, Keith, Strauss, and I can just have this company that we do all the parts of production, not just productions, but like all the parts of filmmaking for ourselves. Um, but so I saw this and I was thinking of dream jobs and whatnot. And it started making, and as Daniel and I have been talking about like what to do next, it made me realize like, well, my dream job is production. The stuff I talked about this week. I want to be able to go in and just like every day we shoot something new. We're always making movies as much as we can. Um, oh, there you go. Uh, Lee Bales just hit this. Uh, Perfect, like deep cut. It's millions of views on YouTube, but I've never talked to someone that I've brought up Lee Hardcastle's animations and they knew what it was. And oh my god, those Lee Hardcastle animations are the best. They are so good. Oh, I dream of working with Lee Hardcastle someday. Um, I would love. There's an opening to Father Gill and the Daughters of Lilith, the sequel to The Good Exorcist, that I want to do. Um, I would I really wanna do next year a Good Exorcist remake, like My Evil Dead 2. It probably won't happen, but I would love to get the funding, and if Daniel and I decide to grow the nuts to actually do a crowdfunding, I think that's what it would be for, is to do a $100,000 version of The Good Exorcist, the original script, the bed and breakfast version. I would like to get a bed and breakfast. The dream is I would go back to my mom's old bed and breakfast and we'd film there, but I'm sure it's just a house at this point or torn down. I know they had a storm go through Iowa and tear down a lot of houses. So, and that one in McGregor, that whole street was ripped to shreds. So hopefully it's still there. Um, Lindrick asked, "How are things progressing with the film?" Things are progressing slowly but surely. So my family is going out of town. Um, oh shit! I started to talk about this Lee Hardcastle thing. Um, Shit. There's an opening to Father Gill and the Daughters of Lilith where Stanley is explaining the story of creation, and so I started like creating the story of creation how I see it in my head, like visually. If I saw creation happen, this is how I see it. And there's like a moment of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, like being sort of born out of each other, and like it's this blob of Adam, and he's just a blob of slime and maggots, and he sort of like crawls out of this ball of slime and maggots, and then starts to like come to be, and then as the story continues to be told, like literally these fucked up fingers come down and pull one of his ribs out, and then she forms out of the rib like a vomiting pile of nasty. And so anyway, I my dream is that in that sequence, mixing CGI with claymation, we eventually see sort of this heavenly thing. Would love to have Lee Hardcastle animate that animation for this heavenly moment. I can't say what that is or it spoils something huge. So even though it's right at the beginning of the movie, it sort of sets up the whole theme of what the movie becomes at that point. Um, but Scumbag, so my family is going out of town next weekend. So I finished up my contracts, all of my contracts right now. And I have 2 weeks that I will be doing nothing but filming that. I mean, I still have to work in the evenings, but I'll be waking up every day and filming Scumbag. And then on the weekends, I have 2 full weekends Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning. Yeah, my weekend is fucked because listen to this. This is my job. I work Friday nights. So I get home at like 10:30 at Friday night, and then so I lose my Friday night, and then Saturday, Sunday, but then I have to be up Monday to get my kid on the bus and then work Monday. So I have Saturday and Sunday are my only like time to do weekend things for myself versus having that Friday night to do stuff as well. So that sucks. I lose a lot of time, and it's really hard to actually like get that motivation to get up in the morning and go like, okay, well, I have 5 hours to work right now. I'm going to start working on my movie. It's just really hard to do that, but I'm going to try. So I have 2 weeks or a week and a half with 2 weekends that I will be doing nothing but scumbag. So in the mornings, waking up, instead of taking my kids to the bus, I will come downstairs. I will do a morning video. Very simple. So this is in April. So I will no longer be doing my like morning videos that I cut. Instead, it'll just be like me on the set of Scumbag doing a morning video right into my phone. Probably I'll just do quick like, hey everybody, I'm filming Scumbag. Here's what I'm hoping to get done today. But I set out my schedule like I talked about last week. I went into Google Calendar. I know Lee Bales said that he uses Excel. That is the one software, like when people talk about After Effects and they're like, I look at it and I can't figure it out. I don't know where to start. That's Excel for me. I understand spreadsheets in as much as I can kind of figure out how they work and whatever, but actually creating a spreadsheet for scheduling that has like the date, what things should look like, where they should go, that does not work for me. I'm so terrible at it. Um, so I'm excited because with Scumbag, this version that I'm doing next week, being a movie that I'm doing, this is the version I'm doing all by myself. There are 2 different versions of the movie. Lindrick asked, how did you handle casting, and are you playing a character this time? I am the only character this time, and I'm doing everything myself. You'll see next week, but I have like camera rigs set up. If you saw the morning video where I filmed the record player that goes at the beginning of the morning videos, I have this uh track. It's like a slider, but like a track that is remote controlled or timed, or it's on like a thing. Jesus Christ, it's motorized. Why is this so hard to say? But so I'm setting it up so that I can film myself, and I will be using that. And I actually changed. So I shot some of the first scenes of the movie are actually done already. I grew out my fingernails for like a year and my hair, and in the movie I cut them and clip them. And so I filmed that stuff, and I'm still going to use it, but I filmed all that on the Ursa Mini, and I'm switching this version to using my Sony because it has that awesome autofocus, and because I'm filming myself, I'll need the autofocus. So I'm changing everything for this. But then we will be casting Scumbag 2.0, as Daniel and I call it, which it's not Scumbag 2 really. I guess it kind of is because it's a different character a little bit. Anyway, regardless, that one will be casting in the coming months. So it's going to be a challenge because we don't know what's going to be happening later this year or when we're actually going to film it. We don't know what's going to be happening with COVID. And so we're writing it in a way that if we need to use our little bubble of people, we can, but we would like to go out and cast more people. I'm also working on a few more projects as well that I'll be casting, and I really want to work with people that I know and people that I've wanted to work with and find ways to actually hire and cast or not hire. If people want to work for free, like I am still at that point where I'm not making money off of these things. So some of these smaller projects, there's people who have said like, hey man, I want to work on one of your movies. I will work for free. Let's just film something. Let's make something. This is the year that I'm hoping to do that. I'm hoping to make more content that I'm learning from and happy with, but like I need to take a step back and do stuff that has less visual effects, stuff that I learn characters more. So that's some of the things that I'm writing right now and trying to figure out. And I will be casting all of these projects this year. Someone said in one of the comments, they asked if film school was a good thing, or if I think people should go to film school. And in the past, my answer has been no. I've said like just go make your movie or whatever, and that works for me. But recently, as I've sort of thought back on my past and thought back and looked at what other people are doing, that is a really stupid way to think. And I think that whatever will help you do what you want to do, if you want to get into the industry, you should go to film school and meet people and start trying to find an agent and go to LA and do all of those things. That is like a really good path. My friend Bola, she was on Rebel Without a Crew. She's been like crushing it in her game. She's been working on all sorts of CW shows, directed a ton of really great episodes, is getting into the industry in the way she wanted to, and is actually proving like when you work your ass off and care a lot and put the time in, you'll get there. Like she's getting there. She's finding where she wants to be and what she wants to do. And she just did an interview. I think it was with like Script Magazine or something like that, Script something. And it was a really wonderful interview, like so good. And she talked about um how she was always striving for perfection and was really bad at putting out her imperfections or letting people see her fail or letting people see her stuff that she wasn't proud of or didn't come out flawlessly. And she's realized that you have to just kind of put yourself out there and be bold and be willing to look like, you know, a shit on in front of people and let them see the stuff that isn't good to so that they can also see the growth. Um, she didn't that's not exactly how she said it, but that's sort of like concept. And she talked about how, like, as a Black woman in filmmaking, it's especially hard because when someone says you didn't do something right, it's instantly like I'm the Black woman that did something bad versus, that other mentality of just like letting people see your flaws and realizing you can grow and taking those risks are important. For me, animation school was really stupid because that's not where I want to go. Like, I don't want to be in the industry in that capacity. So while it's paid the bills, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. The bills have been student loans and finding my way to actually make it the way I want to and get Flush Studios off the ground and what that is. So, um, casting is an interesting thing, and I didn't talk about it in my videos because I've never done it. The only casting I've ever done are calling people who I know and being like, "Hey, do you wanna be in this?" Or the cattle call thing that we did on Rebel Without a Crew, which was absolutely stupid. I don't that cattle call thing was really strange and not the way you should cast. Um, I I think my way of casting will still forever be sort of casual. I work with people I want to work with. I don't necessarily work with people who I think are the best for the character, like the way I wrote it. I feel like I adapt the character to a person's personality and how they are. Like Stanley was a completely different character than how Stanley came out in The Good Exorcist, and that was, like, adapting it to Avery because Avery came into this cattle call thing and was so nice and so cool, and I just wanted to hang out with him and thought he would actually be the kind of person who would pick up a boom mic if he had to or help out wherever he had to. So I cast him based on the fact that I was like, "Hey, I don't know anyone here, and I'm meeting all sorts of new people for the first time. I need a creepy white guy, and you are kind of a nice creepy white guy here right now." So I brought him on, and that's how I did that. But casting is something that maybe, as I work on these projects this year, that'll be part of my morning videos is kind of talking about the casting process and what I do. This is so much better. Honestly, guys, I really appreciate you coming out here and asking questions in the chat and being a part of this. I like these Sunday morning coffee things, and I went for a whole hour without even realizing I was doing this. I don't know if this is something that you guys would be interested in doing more. Maybe it's not a Sunday morning thing. I don't know if people during their work day, in the morning would throw something like this on and just chit chat about filmmaking. I could definitely go live more often if it was something that people would be interested in seeing, because it's helpful for me. Right now, I feel like I'm at that fork in the road in my career. I'm really sorry. Smoking a cigarette the night before I do one of these is a stupid idea, and I have to podcast tonight. Shit, I'm gonna blow my voice out before this is all over. I'm podcasting with a dude who did a bunch of short films that are on, Arrow Player, the new Arrow streaming service. I love this service because obviously, I love fringe filmmaking and weird out there content, and Arrow Shutter has been great, and Shutter has a lot of good stuff, but I find that it's often stuff that's in the sort of zeitgeist of horror or people know about. And that's great, but it doesn't help me kind of think outside of the box and find independent filmmakers who are doing stuff that's sort of my peers or where I would like to be. And Arrow Player has a lot of that stuff. Arrow is releasing some interesting shit that I would never have seen. So I really recommend Arrow Player if you're interested in fringe independent films that are quality. Like they're not taking stuff that is garbage and they're putting it out in a way that's interesting to me. Um, Although, I say that and then I'm trying to think of like, I guess I've seen a few really bad independent movies recently, but I've seen a lot of really good ones. Or if they struggle at places, it's like The Good Exorcist, where I see where it came from and kind of why it exists in the movie as I'm watching it. And I go, like, okay, that's not great audio right there, but I can look past it as a filmmaker and as a movie watcher because it is so different and not like anything else I've seen. Um, this was really fun. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to me babble. Listening to me babble. Man, I'm stuttering today. I'm struggling. It's weird that I do so much podcasting and videos and like to talk to people because I have a terrible stutter and sometimes can't wrap my head around the thoughts that I'm trying to get out. And maybe that's why I do all of these videos and stuff. It helps me try to figure out what I'm trying to say sometimes. All right, I'm going to end the stream now, everyone. But thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you so much for enjoying or being a part of this little coffee rant. We'll do it again on Sunday. I'm going to keep this schedule going for this month. I'm going to hopefully be able to continue doing the morning videos every day. I'm just waiting for that day where like my dog gets sick or something and I can't do one and I have to just slap something together. But so far it hasn't happened. Everything's been kosher as far as making them goes. And I'm going to keep going with the morning videos the way they are for the rest of the month. And then, next month we'll see. I may not do them. Maybe I'll quit. I guess I'll probably quit at the end of this month and not do these morning videos. I don't know. They're pointless anyway, and none of this is worth it. That's my new character, my new depressed character I'm trying, who just gives up all the time. And that is not a character. That's just me. That's what I'm going to go say to my wife right now. I'm going to be like, yeah, I don't know. 6 people came out and that was it. I don't know if this is worth doing. And then I'm going to come do it again next Sunday and the same thing. Someone said, but I'm gonna end this here. I just started to end it and then I started ranting again. All right, everyone, kick ass this weekend. Have a good time. I'm gonna go skateboard a little bit and see if I can get better at skateboarding. And then I'm going to work on some Samsons today. So thank you, everyone. Talk later. Bye. Don't let your meatloaf. I almost didn't say don't let your meatloaf.